Hello and welcome to the John Jubilee Transformation Experience Diabetes website. Webinar. Sorry, glad we're here. Glad you're here, and looking forward to you getting to hear some great information tonight. My name is David Baker. I'm the National Director, and 2 years ago I signed up for the John Jubilee Transformation Program. I wanted to lose some weight, get healthy. My knee was messed up, but also I knew I had some health issues. Anytime I got my blood pressure checked, they would always say, "Is your blood pressure always this high?" And I said, "No, probably not." And I would just blow it off. But I knew I had high blood pressure, just didn't want the medicine. Then my younger brother, got diagnosed with full-blown diabetes. My parents got diagnosed with diabetes, and I know the way I felt with my energy and the way I dealt with sugar, and I knew I had either diabetes or was pre-diabetic. And so when I went through John's program, I fixed all of those things and lost over 50 pounds of fat, have none of the sugar issues, none of the high blood pressure issues. In fact, I just got issued insurance, and it was the premium preferred level. It's the cheapest level. I just got it issued, and that has saved me lots and lots of money. And so I sure appreciate this program, and glad you get to be here. You're going to hear some good information tonight, and I hope that you'll take it all in. So now we're going to hear from Mr. John Jubilee.
Hey there, friends. Awesome and amazing day to you, and I am thrilled that this, I'd call it the magic of technology, that we can come together, like this, and comfort of our own home, and we can turn on a computer or a laptop or an iPad or even your iPhone and do it, as I've done many times on the road, as all I had was my iPhone. So I'm always just in awe, and I encourage all of us, don't ever lose your sense of awe in the world. Don't get used to these magnificent, incredible devices and technology and the comforts, that we can easily take for granted every day. But I'm thrilled to be here because I want to talk about a very important and a serious topic, which is diabetes. Diabetes is literally an epidemic in the United States of America and in Canada as well. In fact, I just recently found out from some health officials from Canada that Canada was trying to be very progressive, and so they did a 30-year health program when they realized that diabetes was picking up in their country. And so that's the good news. The bad news is that 5 years into their plan, they are at the 30-year level of diabetes, 5 years in. And we're not far behind. In America right now, the Center for Disease Control of the United States of America is projecting at least 80 million Americans. 80 million Americans will be diabetic or pre-diabetic, either are or will be, just within this next decade that we're in. So somewhere between the next 1 to 10 years. We're right there. That is an epidemic, my friend. 80 million people, if you do your math, is somewhere between every third and fourth person, depending upon how many people that we have in America at the time. But 1 to every 3 to 4 people is literally an epidemic. That is an epidemic. Interestingly, I was talking a little bit earlier, and he may be able to come on and join us on this webinar if we can work through some technical issues of things that have to happen on a webinar. But I was talking to my good friend, Dr. Ron Durr, and he said, isn't it interesting, John, that the correlation between people with diabetes correlates almost exactly, with obesity. Where we're running right now in America, overweight, which is about 30 pounds is overweight, 68.8%. So about two-thirds of us are 30 pounds or more overweight. But about one-third, about every third person, around 28%, 33% of course would be one-third. But pretty close to one-third are actually in the obese category. And another interesting statistic that Dr. Durr was sharing with me just this evening, when we were talking, driving home in our cars, was the fact that literally since 1980, the amount of people that have a very unhealthy body mass index has doubled just since 1980. So we went from about 15% to about 30% just since 1980. So there's just some very significant things that are going on, and we don't want to just stick our head in the sand and pretend like we don't know or pretend like it's not going to affect us, because you know what? Ignorance is a killer. Ignorance is a killer. Those of you that have a Bible and you believe your Bible, there's actually a powerful scripture in the Bible, and it says, "My people perish for lack of knowledge." Now, whether you believe the Bible or not, that's a true statement. People perish for lack of knowledge. If you know how to stay alive, you know how to be healthy, you know how to avoid diabetes, you know how to avoid high blood pressure, knowledge can literally save your life and greatly enhance the quality of your life. And that's what I want to do. I want to share knowledge with you. I'm a pure scientist, which means I'm always on a quest for truth. And when I say I'm a pure scientist, I don't care what the truth is. I just want to know what it is, and then I want to share that truth with you so that you can have the best life possible for your whole life. So let's talk about diabetes for a while here. If you have questions, I want you to use your technology, take those fingers, and just type those questions in, please. And I will answer all of your questions here this evening. So if you have a question, be sure to put it up on your screen. If you have a Gmail, Google Gmail account, you can also attempt through technology to speak with me live. I'll let several of you guys try to do that. If you're willing to take the courageous step to try to do that, that would be fun, for us to do that together. So I would enjoy that. So feel free to jump in on that. Let me share a couple quick things about diabetes that you probably don't know. First of all, 80% of the people that are pre-diabetic don't know it. So you could already be pre-diabetic and you don't know. Now these statistics are literally from a new report that just came out for the Center for Disease Control of the United States of America. So I'm not pulling this stuff out of the air. These are actual statistics from the United States government, from the studies that they've done. 80% of people that are diabetic or pre-diabetic don't even know it. They're completely ignorant. So my first thing to you would be to say, don't be ignorant. It is so simple to test your levels to know if you're diabetic or not. So, please take the time and, spend a few dollars to get a test done to see if you are pre-diabetic or if you are diabetic. Now, I'm going to quickly tell you the great news is it is reversible. It is reversible. Now, everybody will tell you that type 2 is reversible. Everybody will tell you that type 2 is reversible. But even if you have type 1, what I would say to you is, what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose to attempt to do some things that could help to re-stimulate your pancreas and maybe jumpstart it? Not making a claim that it will jumpstart it, but I actually do have several clients that's their claim to me. One of them was a nurse who took her husband to 4 doctors to confirm that his pancreas had in fact began to work and he was completely diabetic free. So she said it was too good to be true, but it was true. So don't shoot the messenger. I know I got a bunch of beautiful, beloved skeptics out there anyway when it comes to some of the things that go on. That's why I don't make a claim. I just share truth with you, and the good news is I can tell you this. Every single diabetic person, every type 2 person that's ever went through my program has not been diabetic when they got done. That's what they say. That's their claim. And I have had several documented, and I'm talking medically documented, where their doctor said they were no longer diabetic, also of the type 1. Now, I'm not foolish. I know it says it's impossible, and that's what the doctor said to me. He said, John, this is not even possible, but I'm looking at it with my own eyes. This person was full-blown diabetic. Now they're not. They're A1C, totally healthy, documented. So I just say you have nothing to lose to try to get healthy at a cellular level, to try to hydrate at the cellular level your pancreas. And the reason the hydration is so important is the #1 cause of diabetes. I'm just going to save you some time here. I sat with a group of doctors one evening, and I posed a question to the table. I said, what is the #1 cause of diabetes? And the first doctor immediately said, sugar. And I said, wrong, good guess. And the next doctor immediately said, fat. And I said, wrong, good guess. I turned to the doctor sitting right to my right, who was a spokesperson for the American Diabetic Association, and I said, what do you say it is? And they said, well, John, honestly, those would have been my first 2 answers as well. And I said, wow, how do you not know this? It is dehydration. It's dehydration. When the pancreas gets dehydrated, it sort of shrivels up like a raisin. It's supposed to be a grape, becomes a raisin, shrivels up. It cannot regulate the insulin the way that it's supposed to. Now, there's some practical things that will make that make sense to you. Have you ever heard of alcohol-induced diabetes? Alcohol, if somebody drinks a lot of alcohol, what does that do? It dehydrates them, correct? So if it's dehydrating them, is it dehydrating their pancreas? Of course it is. It's dehydrating everything. And that's why you'll hear of people that have alcohol-induced diabetes. I actually knew a young man when I was in college. This happened to him. He went on a drinking binge. He was drinking for a whole weekend, and literally it so dehydrated his body, it put him into having diabetes. So it's alcohol-induced diabetes. You'll hear this sometimes with women that are pregnant. Women that are pregnant, their body is trying to protect that baby. It'll take all the hydration, the healthy hydration, and send it first to that placenta and to the womb to take care of that baby. The woman's pancreas becomes dehydrated, and she goes into a pregnancy-induced diabetic state. Totally reversible, but again, it's caused by dehydration. So the great news is, I have a secret. I know how to cellularly hydrate your cells, and your pancreas is all cells. And that way, guess what? I got great news for you. You do not have to be diabetic. We have dozens of documented testimonials of people that were shooting as many as 3 insulin shots a day into their abdomen. Can you imagine? That is just not pleasant. I don't care who you are. And even one of my rough and tumble boys, man, if he just sees a needle, he passes out. If he had to shoot himself like that, he would be just passed out 3 times a day every time he had to shoot himself with insulin. So I can tell you that we've had people completely reverse, going from 3 insulin shots a day to 0, and documented no longer diabetic, no insulin needed, A1C, around 5, great healthy level of A1C. So it really is possible to get yourself healthy at a cellular level and to not deal with the debilitation of diabetes. And look, if you're one of these people that says this, John, yes, I have diabetes, but my diabetes is under control. Well, that's kind of like saying, that, you've got a bull and the bull is under control. Maybe it is today. But if that bull gets up one day in a bad mood, I got news for you. You can have some serious trouble. And I've actually got some clients that own a bull, and you know what? It had a bad day one day, and it tore them up. I mean, I could show you pictures. Well, they would show you pictures, actually, but they showed me because they had an amazing transformation. But I tell you what, they had a bad day with the bull, and that's what diabetes is like. You think you got it in control until you have one bad day with it. And let me tell you what a bad day with diabetes can cause. It can put you in a situation where you can be like the 200 people a day, every day of the week. Every day of the week, 200 people have to get limbs cut off because of diabetes. 200 a day. Now let me tell you something. You may think you got something under control. You have to get your feet chopped off. No. Is anything worth that? Or your hands? Because that's what happens in diabetes. And just like Dr. Ron Durr and I were talking about, even if you don't have to get full-blown amputation, still you end up with a lot of neuropathy, and you have such discomfort that your movement, you pretty much become extremely limited or immobilized anyway because of your diabetes. There's so many negative side effects to diabetes. To say the least, getting your limbs cut off, that's a horrible side effect. Limiting your movement, that's a horrible side effect. Do you know that you can go blind from diabetes? Blind. There are thousands of cases of people who have vision impairment and blindness because of their diabetes. It can onset a dozen really negative, terrible things, including a heart attack, a stroke. I mean, it is bad news. But I got good news. The good news is you don't have to live with diabetes. You can take a positive action step. You can get yourself healthy from the inside out and not have to ever be concerned that you're going to have diabetes or deal with any of the side effects that I'm talking about that have to do with diabetes. I'm going to have David Baker come on. He's going to play a video clip right now. Let's listen to a real person, just like you and me. This is a real person, and this is their real story of what happened with them and their condition of diabetes. So, David, thank you so much.
All right, that was one video. We have another one whenever you're ready for that. That was Frank Kleckner, and he got off all of his diabetes medication and is doing great today.
Yeah, now the thing I like about a real person, Sharon, is that's a real person. So obviously you're just going to have to picture a little bit. We're only going to show you just a couple videos, but there are hundreds of documented cases, hundreds of documented cases. So when a real person tells you that, look, this is my real story, that in the science world is what we call empirical evidence. It's indisputable, it's undeniable. It's like if a person says, I stuck my finger in a fire, it blistered, it burnt, it took 3 weeks to heal. That's empirical evidence because they had an experience. So what you just heard was a man that has had a real experience. And hopefully that gives you some encouragement and some motivation that lets you know that there really is knowledge that you can partake of that will change your life, that will change your future, that will change your destiny and keep you from becoming one of the statistics of blindness, of amputation of your feet, of your hands, or both, of a stroke, of a heart attack, you do not have to put yourself in any of these at-risk categories. So David, let's go ahead and show the other one, if you've got that one ready.
It's ready to go, and this one's very sweet. You can see the emotion when somebody realizes what has happened to them, and this man breaks down, and you'll get to see it. Here it goes. That's awesome. Amazing story to be able to see. That was Kenny Franklin. And John Kenny Franklin and his wife had a great transformation, and just so emotional when his numbers were 180, 190, and now it's 80 to 90 all the time. And literally got emotional realizing what has happened to him on the inside, something we think we have to live with the rest of our life, and not knowing that literally your body, by giving it the right tools, has healed itself, and you are no longer diabetic. So just a great story.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and and let's think about that for a moment. The fact that your spouse, when you're diabetic or pre-diabetic, and remember, 80% of the people that are diabetic or pre-diabetic don't even know it. So it's like somebody walking around with poison inside of them, and they have no idea that it's even there. Until unfortunately it's too late, and then they're dealing with, the negative side effects, of that. But just imagine for your spouse. Look, let me talk to the men for a minute. Men, your wife, she's going to love you and support you no matter what. I mean, wives are amazing. They're so loving and so supportive, no matter what we do. But I promise you this. If you would give your wife a license, or so your significant other, give her a license to really be honest with you, she will tell you she is terrified that she is totally consumed with fear when it comes to your health. Let me tell you a true story that actually happened. There was a wonderful, jolly guy that I used to do some business with, and I virtually saw this man almost every day. He thought it was so funny that he ate a couple of those big jumbo hot dogs every day and a Coke, and he would, always cracking jokes, and I would tell him, I'd say, Don, brother, man, you gotta, he was only 50 years old. I said, Don, you gotta make some changes, man, and his belly was bigger than his sternum, and men, when our belly is bigger than our sternum, then the American Heart Association guarantees us we're going to meet Jesus 5 years early. For every inch that belly is bigger than that sternum. So one day I get a call, not from Don, from his wife. And she said, John, I woke up this morning and Don was dead in the bed right beside me. He never cried out. He just didn't wake up. He just didn't wake up, dead in the bed. Now, when they did his autopsy, guess what? He was diabetic. He was diabetic. He had no blood pressure. I'm sure he was high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and diabetic. But you don't want your wife to wake up with a corpse one morning. You don't want her to wake up with a corpse. Look, men, we should all outlive our wives. We should be there to take care of them, not put them in a situation where they're in fear that we're going to die young. Or, you know what's worse than dying young? Is living where you have to be cared for. Where you have to be cared for. Instead of taking care of your wife, she has to take care of you. She ends up pushing you around in a wheelchair. She ends up giving you your insulin 3 or 4 times a day. She ends up having to wrap your feet because you got diabetic sores. We don't want to live that way. And there's no reason for any of us to ever do that. You know, we don't have to do that. And ladies, you need to take care of yourself too. You're the beauty of your husband's life. And you know that man is terrified to tell you that he wants you to take care of yourself. But if you would give him a license to speak to you openly and honestly. Give him a license to speak to you openly and honestly. You know, don't be like the lady that this guy said to me one day. He said, "Oh, John, I'm telling you right now, man, I tell my wife like it is." He goes, "Just tonight," he goes, "I had her on her knees." I go, "Really? What'd she say?" She said, "Come out from underneath that bed and talk like a man." So ladies, if you give your husband a license, you give him a license to really talk to you openly and honestly. He'll say, "Baby, you're the beauty of my life. I want you to be beautiful. I want you to take care of yourself. I don't want you to be sick. I want you to enjoy your life. I want your biggest problem to be where you're going to get your pedicure or your manicure, get your hair done. Not are you going to get your feet chopped off or your hands chopped off. Or you're going to have diabetic sores all over your body that you couldn't even wear pantyhose if you wanted to." Your husband does not want you to have those kind of challenges in your life, and you don't want those either. You want to be able to be a woman, embrace life, and enjoy all the good things that life has for you. So look, let's honor each other. Husbands, take care of yourself, because guess what? That body's not yours. That body belongs to your wife. And ladies, take care of that body, because that body belongs to your husband. So part of honoring each other, of really loving the person that we're with, is to take care of ourselves, put ourselves in good health. Don't put ourselves at risk, and don't put someone else in fear and dread and anxiety because we're not healthy. Look, every one of us can take an action step when it comes to this. It really is so simple. It really is. It's so simple. Your body is made up of millions and millions of cells. Those cells become like flat, hard marbles. They're like flat, hard marbles. You try drinking extra water, because we all know it's healthy to drink water, right? But that water hits that marble and it just splashes right off, because the cell is not porous. So what we do is help that cell become porous and open up. And as it opens up and it uptakes that water, it's like this. And inside that cell is a mitochondria that starts to fire like a thermonuclear power plant. And when that happens, now the pancreas starts getting healthy and it starts regulating that insulin the way that it's supposed to. And another cool side effect is you have a triangulation of your hypothalamus and your pituitary gland and your thyroid. So many people think, "Oh man, my thyroid's all jacked up." It's probably just dehydrated too. But when those 3 things are firing the way they should, now your body starts to metabolize your fat much, much, much more efficiently and effectively. And so one of your side effects of getting healthy at a cellular level is you begin to metabolize fat. And if you choose to do what I'm going to teach you to do, I'm going to tell you right now, these results are typical. The average woman loses about a loaf of bread. Picture the size of a loaf of bread every single week of solid fat. Men can lose almost 2 a week. Ladies, don't be haters, okay? Guys just lose it faster because muscle eats fat 24/7. And so the more muscle we have, which men have twice the muscle as a woman, they metabolize their fat twice as fast. Ladies, you'll still get there. It's just you're gonna take you twice as long. That's all. But just know that's just the way your body is naturally designed. And let's talk about muscle for a moment when it comes to diabetes and to burning fat. Look, muscle is heavy. It's heavy. 1 inch of muscle, 1 inch weighs 5 pounds. And just 1 inch, that's a quarter of an inch on each arm, quarter of an inch on your chest, quarter of an inch on your legs. That's 5 pounds of muscle. 5 pounds of muscle will eat 50 pounds of fat in 1 year, and it'll eat it every year for free. If you didn't do any exercise at all, just gaining your 5 pounds of muscle would eat 50 pounds of fat in 1 year all by itself. And guess what else it does? Muscle helps your body regulate insulin. It literally helps prevent diabetes. And here's why. When sugar does come into your body, your muscle will take it and break it down and store it into healthy glucose and glycogen and store it in the muscle instead of letting it get in that body where it throws your sugar off. Muscle helps regulate sugar, and it helps metabolize your fat. Another big problem in the human body is when you picture that the size of a loaf of bread is about 4 pounds of fat, and you take that and stick it on your pancreas, do you think that could hinder your pancreas from functioning how it should, or your kidneys, or your heart? That's why fat is so dangerous. That's why there were 2 medical studies that were done, which basically ended all smoking, anti-smoking commercials. You know why? They learned 20 pounds of fat will kill you faster than smoking. Just 20 pounds of fat will kill you faster than smoking. So if you're listening to my voice right now and you're looking at me on this webinar and you're even 20 pounds of weight, 20 pounds of fat, overweight, you know what? You're worse off than somebody that is smoking a couple packs of cigarettes a day. You're going to die faster than they are because that fat will suffocate an organ. And let me tell you a serious story. You know, I talk about these things on the radio, on my radio program, and I tell people, hey, this is life and death. I'm not being dramatic. I'm just telling you a scientific fact. It is life and death. One of the police chiefs of Indianapolis, Indiana, came in with his wife. And he said, John, I thought you were being dramatic on the radio and on television when you said it's life and death. And he said, but this month, he said, I've been on 4 calls where women that age, late 40s, and shape, round shape, of my wife died of natural causes. Died, dead of natural causes. They didn't get sick. They didn't go to the hospital. They just took a nap and didn't wake up. Natural causes. Friends, that's what happens. That fat just suffocates one organ and you die. And he said, hey, I came home to my wife and he said, I didn't even ask her for permission. I just said, baby, I love you and I don't want you to die of natural causes. I don't want you to be one of these people that I come home and you're just dead. Please, let's go do this program. And you know what? They became my friends and my clients to this day. So listen, I'm encouraging you. I'm encouraging you. I've been doing this for 18 years. You've heard me talking tonight, about my good friend, Dr. Ron Durr. I respect him, at the highest level. He's one of the top orthopedic surgeons anywhere. He's one of the top people that I know anywhere. One of the best men, husband, and father that I've ever known. Quality man, quality person. He will affectionately call himself, he says, I'm one of John's guppies because he did this program 18 years ago. And he went to his high school reunion at his high school weight. And he said, by the way, John, I think I was the only person there at my high school weight. And he still has his hair, by the way. So he had a great weight and he has hair. And but he has a beautiful family, and they all live a lifestyle of health and of wellness. And I want to encourage you that, guess what? I got good news for you. I did this myself 18 years ago. I'm wearing a sweater, but if you could see me, you know what? I got a nice flat stomach, and I haven't gained a pound of fat in 18 years, and I haven't been sick in 18 years either, by the way. So I'm happy to tell you that what I teach is simple. Anybody can do it. It's scientific, and it's sustainable. Listen, I had a woman in a wheelchair lose 37 inches of fat in a wheelchair. So I teach a program that's no running, it's no sit-ups, it's no heavy breathing. You can do this. If you can count to 10, you can do it. If you can say your ABCs, you can do it. Anybody can do it. I have people in their 80s that have started the program in their 80s. I had a beautiful dear friend, I hope she's on here tonight, Virginia Julian. She did this program at 81 years old. She lost 42 pounds of fat, gained 8 pounds of solid muscle. And guess what? Documented, cured of cancer on her face. So I'm telling you right now, anybody can do it at any age. And here's how this works. If you decide to do this, David's going to come on in just a few minutes. He's going to share with you, how you can sign up. And I'm going to be with you every single day. Through the magic of technology, guess what? I'm going to show up in your phone or your computer every single day. And I'm going to walk you through each step. And then live, every Tuesday night, I do a live webinar nationwide for all of my transformation, my Jubilee Nation transformation family. And any question you have, now there's hundreds of answers in my members only section. We call it our knowledge base. It's like our library of knowledge about health and wellness. And you have access to those hundreds of answers of questions that have already been asked. But if you have something new or you just want to talk live, guess what? I'm there for you every single week. I have phone coaches that are available as well. They all have their own personal story, their own personal transformation. And we just share. We're just like one family, walking through this together. But I will take you through step by step. I give you 3 things you start with immediately, just 3 simple things that you start with. And then a few weeks later, I'm going to give you 7 other things. So just 10 things, 10 simple steps. Everybody can do it. No running, no sit-ups, no heavy breathing. You can do it all from home. There's no special food. The only food you can't eat while you're transforming, while you're getting healthy, especially when you're battling diabetes, is sugar and white flour. Now you can add it back in afterwards. If you go look on my Facebook, you'll see I definitely was eating some sugar and white flour just before this webinar, actually. But it's because now I have the muscle to assimilate and reset hypothalamus and metabolism, that can handle that, and you will too. But I just want to encourage you, if you want something different, you have to do something different. You have to take a step. And I will just share something with you that I'm always learning. So I'm always teaching what I learn. I just teach what I learn, and I learn from my clients. If you're just getting to know me, I did this for 10 years for free. Dr. Durr can tell you. He says, yep, John Jubilee, he's an 18-year overnight success. But for 10 years, I help people for free to get healthy at a cellular level. But here's what I learned from a gentleman. He asked me how much it cost, and I looked at him, and I said, well, it cost $3,000, and he got real quiet. He didn't say a word for 3 minutes. No, your screen is not frozen. I'm showing you what it was like. That's awkward, right? It's so awkward. So I'm taught to be polite, and so finally after 3 minutes, the guy says, I'm doing it. and he starts filling out his paperwork. And now you can do it online. You can do it on computer, but back then we just had good old-fashioned paperwork. And so he fills out his paperwork. Well, 88 days later, he comes bouncing in my office, and he's from New York City, and so he is really loud and boisterous. And he's like, John Jubilee, he's like, I lost 81 pounds of fat in 88 days. Oh, and I don't think I mentioned, this guy was permanently disabled. He'd been trapped in a fire. His lungs are burnt up, permanently disabled. He lost 14 inches in his waist, 14 inches. And he gained over 10 pounds of solid muscle. So he is just so thrilled. He says, man, this changed my life, and my energy levels through the roof, and I'm enjoying my wife and my kids. And he says, but John, could I tell you what I was thinking when you told me how much this cost? I said, please tell me what you were thinking. Are you kidding me? You had an out-of-body experience for like 3 minutes. He said, John, my first thought was, it's too expensive. I'm not spending that money on myself. He said, but my very next thought was, I live in a brick house, and I just paid some guys $3,200 to paint the trim on my house. He goes, 3 months before that, they called me, hey, Lisa's car needs a new transmission, $3,500. He goes, I spent it in a second for the car. 6 months before that, we went to Disney World, $5,000. 6 months before that, heating and air went out, $5,400. He said, John, I went through an inventory of all these things I spend money on, and I came full circle to what? $3,000? Am I not worth $3,000? Is my health not worth $3,000? I'm doing it. But when he said that, my light bulb went off like, oh my word. That's how we really think. That's how I think. So here's what I do. I say, look, there's only two priceless things on this planet, you and your health. You and your health. If Steve Jobs was sitting right here beside me, and I said, hey, Steve, how much are you worth? And Steve would say 8.3 billion with a B. 8.3 billion. That's $8,000 million. 8,000 million. Steve, would you trade me $8,000 million for another 30 happy, healthy years with your family? You know how fast Steve Jobs would be writing me that check? Because he's dead. He's gone. He learned the hard way. Your health is priceless. There's no price you can pay for your health, none. So look, I make this affordable for everybody because I want everyone to have health. I want everyone to get healthy. So I'm going to encourage you, hey, you come and join me. Come and join me this year. Make this your year of your optimal health. Make this your year that you do something for yourself. And are you really just doing it for yourself? No. You're doing it for the people you love so that you can be the best for them and so that you can be one that takes care of them, not them ending up having to take care of you. So David's going to come right now. He's going to give you some simple steps, and then I'll come back and answer any and all questions that you have. You can just type those in on your screen.
Great. Any questions that you have, please do. Just type them in on the side, and John will stay as long as you need to answer any questions that you have. If you would like to get started on this, I'm putting up a link right now. It's called thehumantransformer.com/signup.html. There's a link right there. You can click on it and get started. If you're watching it on a replay and the link doesn't show up, just go to thehumantransformer.com/signup.html. If you do have any question about anything and you'd like to email it, you can email me at david@johnjubilee.com, david@johnjubilee.com, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have and get you any more information. Let me tell you how you can get started on this. I signed up 2 years ago in January, and I'm a pastor. I have 11 children, and income is not the highest, but I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. I had gained weight, tried to lose it, lose gain, didn't feel good, had no energy, wondered if I had diabetes, high blood pressure, Epstein-Barr, chronic fatigue. I just did not feel good. And so It didn't matter to me what it cost. I was going to try this. John had a money back guarantee. If it didn't work, I did the program. He gave me my money back. I had nothing to lose. So I did it. When I came on working for John, then I said, John, everyone wants to do your program. We just need to help them financially. So here's what we have done. The program, John has a CEO and celebrity price, and it's $10,000. And we've had a lot of celebrities in Nashville and LA that have done this. I know of 2 billionaires that have gone through the program, and John charges them $10,000 because they need that amount to keep them committed to it. When John gave this away for free, a lot of the people he gave it to didn't do it because it's free. It must not be worth anything. If you don't mind me quoting as a pastor, the Bible says where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. If your treasure's not there, your heart's not going to be there. Once John started charging for it, then people did it and had great transformations. And so for the CEOs and celebrities, they need that price. The normal price is $5,000. On a webinar like this, and when we meet in person, it's only $3,000. Now, if you would like to pay up front, then we don't have to pay a bookkeeper and accountant to be able to collect it. We don't charge interest or finance charge or anything. But if you wanted to pay up front, we'll knock another $500 off of it. It's only $2,500, and that way we would rather give you the discount than having to pay a bookkeeper to collect it. Okay? If you can't do that, but you can pay it off within the 88 days, you can pay $1,000 up front. $1,000 next month, $1,000 next month. That gets it paid off in the 88 days, and then it's just $3,000. If you said, boy, I really want to get started, but I can't do that, then what they did for me, basically what they asked in the office then was, what could you afford for a down payment? Make it a painful down payment to keep you committed, and then what could you afford for a monthly payment? They had minimums, but that was what was told to me, and I was floored. I'd never heard anything like that because that didn't seem, quote, business-like, but John said, I truly, honestly do not want finances to be an issue, but somebody cannot get healthy, okay? And so he said, it's like having a cure for cancer and saying you can't afford it. He said, I'm not going to do that to someone. And so what we have is the last one, and for only $500 down, and then $200 a month, you can get started, okay? And you won't be done in the 88 days, so we'll just trust you to keep paying that. But for $500 down and $200 a month, and you can get started. So when you go to that link, it has all those options there. Just pick the one that is best for you. If you have to do it at that price, and we have to pay someone to collect it and keep track of it, do billing and all that stuff, and so that price is $3,500, okay? Still worth it to be able to do the program. And so those are the prices on it. It is so well worth it. When you look at, I looked up the numbers, diabetes, a person spends over $13,000 a year on health issues when they have diabetes. Some people say, oh, that program might work, but it's too expensive. One night in the hospital is over $5,000. Diabetes, $13,000 a year, plus all the complications of amputations. And it's amazing what we will spend our money on, when it comes to taking care of ourselves and our health. Like John said, so many people don't. I'm so glad I did. I'll tell you this last story, and then we'll turn it back over to John. When I did the program, I'm not recommending you do this, okay? But my wife will vouch for this. I did not tell my wife how much the program was. I just did it. And we've been tight financially for a while, and I didn't know if she would be for it, but I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. We had a 4-week meeting. We got to meet John, and John spoke, and he said in that meeting, look, you paid $3,000 for this program. And so then my wife looked at me and was like, okay, she knows how much it costs now. And so on the way home, I wondered what she was going to say. And she said, so the program costs $3,000. And I said, yes. She said, honey, she said, I am so glad you did this. I've seen what it's done for you, what it's done for your health and how you feel. It was so worth it. And I knew it was because I knew the way I felt and what it did for me. But to see and hear my wife's confirmation from that was just a great blessing to me. So if you have any questions about it, let us know. If you have a question about your health, feel free to type it in, and we'd love to help you to get started. So just click on the link, thehumantransformer.com/sign-up. .html, and we'd love to be able to get you started. Okay, I'm going to turn it back over to John. And John, there's no questions that have come in. I think you've done a good job explaining it. You want to close with anything, or give him any other advice, or anything I need to still cover?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. And again, I just love this incredible magic of technology, that we can come together this way and be so simple and easy for you. If you have other friends or family members that need to hear this message that you care about, that you love, then I would really encourage you to take this link It's a recorded link, and you can share this, with them as well. So I try to, reach out because I know that I have knowledge that can help you. I know that I have knowledge that can help to change your life and make your life better. And that is truly my heart's desire, is to share and impart knowledge to you and then give you some motivation, some encouragement, some inspiration to know that you really can do it. You really can. This can really be your time. And look, I do a money back guarantee because I wouldn't take your money for anything. But let me ask you a question. If you pay me $2,500 and it works, is it worth it? Of course it is. And if it doesn't and I give you your money back, are we going to be friends? Of course we are, because you're going to know that guy was not trying to take my money. So look, either way, we're going to be friends. So this is a total no pressure transaction that we have going on here. And I teach this: a good decision is a good decision today, tomorrow, next week, next month, provided you're still around next month. The only caveat, the only asterisk in there. But other than that, guess what? There's no pressure whatsoever. So you take your time, you think about it, you talk about it, you pray about it, whatever your decision-making process is. I'm not going anywhere. I've been around for 18 years. And I'm going to be around for 18 more, and then 18 more, and then 18 more, and then 18 more. And then I'm going to, at 120 years old, I'm going to have lived the life I want to live, and I'll probably check out at that point. But I will be around until I'm 120 years old. So I want to invite you to join me. Join me in the experience of being healthy, of being the real you, of living the life that you were destined to live. Do your research, take your time, go, I have two different websites, thehumantransformer.com and johnjubilee.com. And so you just feel free to just check out everything you want to check out, but then come and join me in a life of health and wellness at the cellular level. Transform your life, transform your health. So I'll look forward to seeing you next time.